The first time I saw New York City, I felt like I had landed on another planet. Everything was overwhelming. The towering buildings that seemed to touch the sky, the endless streams of people rushing in every direction, the constant symphony of car horns and distant sirens. I was Emily Peterson, a 24-year-old woman from a tiny town in rural Minnesota, and I had never felt so small, so lost, so completely out of place. My apartment was tiny, just a small studio in Brooklyn that cost more per month than my entire family's mortgage back home. The walls were thin, and I could hear my neighbors talking, laughing, arguing. At night, the city never truly went silent. There was always a hum, a pulse of energy that both terrified and excited me. I had come to New York with dreams bigger than my courage. I wanted to be a writer, to tell stories that mattered. But right now, I felt more like a character in someone else's story, lost, uncertain, afraid of making a wrong move. My first weeks were a blur of confusion and anxiety. The subway system seemed like an incomprehensible maze. I would stand at street corners, map in hand, feeling like a complete outsider. People rushed past me, their faces determined, their steps purposeful. I was a statue in a river of movement, frozen and uncertain. Little did I know that my life was about to change. Sometimes the most profound transformations come from the most unexpected moments of human connection. It happened on a crisp autumn morning. The subway car was packed, a typical New York rush hour where personal space was a luxury no one could afford. I was clutching my bag, trying to make myself as small as possible. When it happened, my wallet slipped from my bag, unnoticed. I didn't realize it was gone until I tried to buy a hot dog from a street vendor. My hand reached into my bag and suddenly the world stopped. No wallet, no money, no identification, just pure, overwhelming panic. I sat on a bench near the subway station, tears threatening to fall. I was completely alone in this massive city, without resources, without a safety net. The enormity of my situation crashed over me like a wave. That's when Daniel appeared. He wasn't what you might expect from a city hero. Middle-aged, with kind eyes and hands that looked like they had worked hard their entire life. He approached me, not with pity, but with genuine concern. "Are you okay?" he asked, and something about his voice, warm, patient, understanding, broke something inside me. I told him everything, about losing my wallet, about being new to the city, about feeling completely lost. He listened. Then he did something that would change the trajectory of my entire life. He gave me $20 and said words I would never forget. "Everyone needs help sometimes." Daniel invited me to the Hope Community Center. It wasn't just a building, it was a living, breathing ecosystem of compassion. Children's laughter echoed through the hallways. Older adults sat together, knitting, talking, and sharing moments of connection. I watched Daniel interact with everyone. Children, elderly individuals, volunteers. He didn't just help, he truly saw people. He listened to a young boy struggle through reading a book. He helped an older man with shaky hands organize his library. He spoke to everyone with the same level of respect and genuine care. "Why do you do this?" I asked him later. His story unfolded slowly, like a carefully written novel. He spoke of growing up in poverty, of kind strangers who had helped his family when they had nothing. "Kindness saved me," he said simply. "Now, I want to save others." Over the next months, the community center became my sanctuary. I learned that kindness wasn't just a grand gesture, it was a series of small, consistent actions. A smile, a listening ear, a moment of genuine connection. I started volunteering. At first I was awkward and unsure, but Daniel and the other volunteers were patient. They showed me that community isn't about perfection, it's about showing up, trying and caring. I helped children with their homework. I listened to elderly women share stories of their lives. I learned to garden, to cook community meals, to see the world through a lens of compassion. The charity event was my first real leadership project. Daniel supported me, but he let me take the lead. We planned everything, collecting donations, creating games for children, and reaching out to local businesses. On the day of the event, I saw what a true community looked like. People from all walks of life came together, united by a simple desire to help one another. We collected clothes and food and raised money for families in need. Standing on that stage, looking at the faces of people who had come together to make a difference, I realized something profound. Kindness is contagious. One rainy afternoon, I found myself helping a mother and her child who were stranded at a bus stop. I bought them hot chocolate, listened to their story, and offered a moment of warmth and understanding. As they left, the mother's eyes were filled with gratitude, but the real gift was mine, the understanding that kindness doesn't cost money. It just requires a moment of genuine human connection. Looking back, I realized New York didn't change me. Daniel and the community didn't change me. I changed myself by choosing to see the world differently. I learned that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's strength. That asking for help is not a failure, but a courageous act of human connection. That every single person has a story worth hearing, worth understanding. My dream of being a writer hasn't disappeared. But now I understand that the most powerful stories aren't written. They're lived. Kindness, I've learned, is like a pebble thrown into a pond. The initial splash might seem small, but the ripples extend far beyond what we can see. To anyone feeling lost, afraid, or uncertain, remember this: your story matters. Your pain is valid. And sometimes, the most profound transformations come from the most unexpected moments of human connection. Stay kind. Stay hopeful. Your story is still being written. Thank you so much for watching this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Spread kindness wherever you go, and remember that one small act can change the world. See you in the next story.